When I reviewed La Traviata on our May 24th episode, I said that I envied reviewers who would be writing after the opera theater season was over because they would be able to describe the brilliant ending without spoiling it. Now I am one of those reviewers. We have a little extra time on this episode, so I'm going to look back at this year's opera theater season and say a few words about two endings, the final moments of La Traviata and the conclusion of Timothy O'Leary's brilliant tenure as General Director of Opera Theatre St. Louis. Violetta's last lines in the libretto of La Traviata are preceded by the stage direction rianimata, that is, reinvigorated. Her pain has stopped, she says. Her strength has returned. She thinks she will live. Then she collapses on the sofa. In every other production I've seen, we see how Violetta's death affects Alfredo and his father. At Opera Theatre, when Violetta began to recover, the others on stage froze. Violetta left their reality and entered her own. She rose from the sofa and returned to the embrace of the giant camellia from which she emerged at the end of the prelude to Act I. The director who conceived of this ending was Patricia Rissette, the renowned soprano who has played Violetta many, many times. She deserves the highest praise for looking beyond 19th century convention and taking advantage of what we have learned in our time from accounts of near-death experiences. Rissette's interpretation blew me away, not in the least because it put the focus at the very end on the title character, not the men responsible for her decline. It was only after I saw the ending that I understood Rissette's use of the stage's turntable when it was not needed to change the setting. The audience was being prepared to accept what would happen at the end when our focus was shifted from one perspective on reality to another. This Traviata was part of a season that I would place among opera theater's finest ever. It was a grand way for Timothy O'Leary to end his 10 years as OTSL's general director. He has just assumed the same role at the Washington National Opera. Under O'Leary's leadership, Opera Theatre has been remarkably successful, both artistically and financially. The company has an enviable record of expanding the audience for opera at the same time as expanding the operatic repertory, not only by commissioning bold new works, but also by bringing back rarities worthy of revival. The premiere of Terence Blanchard's jazz opera Champion, about a gay black boxer, received the most rapturous opening night ovation I have ever heard anywhere. Because of the preparatory work done by Opera Theatre, John Adams' highly controversial work, The Death of Klinghoffer, brought the community together instead of tearing it apart. I would not be at all surprised if this year's production of Regina secured a place in the standard repertory for Mark Blitzstein's neglected masterpiece. These are just a few of O'Leary's triumphs. I'm sorry to see him go, but happy to see him offered a new challenge. O'Leary has left a great team behind and set a sterling example for its members to follow. I'm confident that a bright future is ahead for both O'Leary and Opera Theatre.
Yeah, thank you for this summary and this tribute to Timothy O'Leary, because he certainly has done some very fine work while he's been here.
I'm sure that he will have just as great success in Washington.